Wednesday, March 4th, and if you're listening to this, you've probably heard me before. This is probably not your first time listening to me. And if it is your first time, I have to apologize. This is going to be a little bit boring. I'm going to be covering the investor relations ImmunityBio from minute 0 to minute 20. And I chose this time horizon as maybe I'll do a 5-part investor relations coverage because it's quite technical. I took notes. I wanted to take notes for myself, for my own learning purposes, and to spread the word for people that have my level of knowledge or less out in the investment community. Maybe you're new to ImmunityBio, maybe you followed the hype, maybe you've been here for a while and you still don't really understand the science behind it. I have somewhat of a grasp of it, but I'm always looking to learn more. So without delay, let's talk about the first 20 minutes because Patrick Soon-Shiong came on and he said that he's going to do kind of an introduction to the presentation, a cover letter, if you will. That's the language he used. And my notes are very scattered. So if you take a screenshot of them, you're probably still not going to be able to make out what they say. But let me go through with it. First, Patrick comes on and he talks about the context and the history, explains the platform that he has built, that Anktiva is the backbone, the mechanism to delivering cancer treatment. And what does that mean? Well, I'll get to what that means a little bit later. And that cytokine IL-15 is the number one molecule to cure cancer since 2007, since it was published in 2007. And then he fast forwards to 2024 and he says, the FDA said that the mechanism is to stimulate NK and stimulate T cells. NK are called natural killer cells, and T cells are that's what kills off viruses in your system so you can live. And they serve as the foundation to take Anktiva and combine it with other therapies. This impacts patients with cancer and lymphopenia and other degenerative diseases. And by 2016, they were asked to provide a cancer moonshot. It didn't state who asked them, but he did say that he was going to collaborate with then Vice President Biden and Big Pharma, which was the goal. But my notes say Big Pharma is lame, which I think they are. They don't want it. And it became apparent that the Biden cancer moonshot went with Big Pharma, so that makes a lot of sense. Biden is quite spineless, in my opinion. And he went with the cancer, with the Big Pharma, who didn't have the IL-15 in development. That's a fact. And then Patrick goes on to say that they challenged the idea of starving the tumor. So starvation of the tumor was an idea, and he challenged that because the tumor could and would shapeshift and metastasize or go to different areas and then go cold, whereas the body could not recognize it. The T cells could not recognize it. PSS says that you should feed the tumor. So he challenged the idea of starving the tumor. He says you can feed the tumor and have a cancer treatment called Abraxane, okay, so that it could alert the body that the tumor was hot by feeding the tumor and a tumor becoming traceable. Okay, that's my understanding at least. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And then I go to lymphocytes and lymphopenia, and he defines lymphocytes as NK and T cells to generate a memory T cell. That was really interesting to me. Your body can remember if the tumor comes back to give you long-term duration and protection. I kind of knew that, but I didn't really know that until he said it to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of knew it, but once he said it to me, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So he activates the killer cells, but also wants to suppress the suppressor cells. How do we outsmart the suppressors? We program the NK cells. The change in the shapeshifting is dependent on what you're doing to the patient. So are you starving the cancer, or are you feeding the cancer something that can alert your body that the cancer is hot? It's a hot tumor. It's able to be identified. And this is what gets me to the end of his 20 minutes. It's September 2016, he visited the FDA, provided this concept of quantum oncology therapeutics. And this was really interesting to me. I didn't know this. The FDA allowed them to file an IND. By 2017, you will not only see the development, but also the execution. How Anktiva becomes the backbone to multiple illnesses. For example, as I go back to the start of this, of Anktiva as the backbone, that you can supply patients chemo with lower dose with Anktiva as the backbone. Radiation with lower dose with Anktiva as the backbone. So radiation has a job to do, but with Anktiva, BCG with Anktiva, checkpoint inhibitors with Anktiva, we don't need to abandon the standard of care, he says, but complement it, supplement it. And that was the biggest takeaway that I got. And then I stopped because my brain was on absolute overload. It wasn't an easy call to decipher if you're not from the biopharmaceutical or scientific or MD, medical doctor background. I'm from a finance background. I don't know this stuff, but I'm trying my best. So if people that know this stuff more than me can help me in the comments, maybe make a comment about what Patrick was saying, maybe something I got wrong in here, call it out. And I'd be happy to learn alongside the rest of you. But that's going to do it for the first 20 minutes. Maybe I'll go through the rest of the call and see what's important and bring it out in a part 2 or a part 3. But let's see. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you stayed to the end, like, comment, subscribe, and share this with anybody else that you would think would gain value from this. Thank you.